Kash Patel, a former senior government official and known legal mind, has initiated an unprecedented investigation into powerful Republican Senator Lindsey Graham. According to sources close to Patel, the inquiry concerns potential misuse of political power, illicit financial dealings, and ties to classified decision-making processes. As the story unfolds, Washington finds itself on edge, unsure of what consequences this explosive probe may bring to Capitol Hill's power dynamics. This revelation sent shockwaves through political circles. While Lindsey Graham has long maintained a position of influence within the GOP, especially on issues of foreign policy and judiciary matters, this new focus on alleged misconduct could seriously undermine his credibility. Kash Patel, known for his close ties with Trump and relentless pursuit of truth, claims there are grounds for serious legal scrutiny, possibly even indictments. Insiders reveal that Patel's team has been gathering evidence over the past several months. Leaked documents allegedly tie Graham to backdoor deals involving foreign lobbyists. The material includes email correspondences, encrypted messages, and travel records that suggest Graham may have met with individuals under active FBI surveillance. If proven true, these meetings could constitute violations of the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. Patel has also hinted at potential financial improprieties. Reports suggest that Graham may have funneled campaign funds into private business interests. Several anonymous whistleblowers are cooperating with Patel's investigation, offering internal documents and sworn testimony. Some of the documents have been authenticated by cybersecurity experts, further solidifying Patel's claims. In a fiery public address, Patel criticized what he called a two-tier justice system in Washington. He stated that no one, regardless of political status, should be above the law. He vowed to continue exposing deep corruption within both parties and claimed that Graham's case is just the beginning. This aggressive posture has further divided political analysts and media figures. Graham's response came swiftly and emotionally. During a Senate press briefing, he angrily denied all allegations and accused Patel of political sabotage. He claimed the investigation was a partisan hit job aimed at destroying reputations. Visibly shaken, Graham also suggested the possibility of legal retaliation against those spreading what he termed blatant lies. Despite Graham's denials, Patel doubled down. In a follow-up interview, he revealed that several intelligence sources had come forward, confirming that Graham's conduct raised red flags within the national security community. He insisted that this is not about partisan politics, but about accountability and integrity at the highest levels of government. Public reaction has been intense. Social media erupted with calls for Graham to be investigated formally by the Senate Ethics Committee. Hashtags like Graham resign and Patel truth began trending within hours. On the other side, conservative commentators called Patel a traitor to the GOP and warned of internal party civil war. The Republican base appears deeply divided. Kash Patel's legal strategy appears calculated and precise. Sources close to his team reveal they have already contacted multiple federal watchdogs and plan to submit a comprehensive dossier to the Department of Justice. The dossier is said to include audio recordings, financial transaction histories, and corroborated whistleblower testimony. One of the most damning claims involves a private dinner Graham allegedly attended with foreign defense contractors. The dinner, held in a D.C. hotel in 2022, reportedly included confidential discussions about military aid allocations. If true, these meetings may breach federal transparency laws and ethics rules governing Senate conduct. In an exclusive interview with a conservative media outlet, Patel declared, "This isn't about bringing down Lindsey Graham. It's about restoring public trust. We can't allow backroom deals to define American policy." He also hinted that other prominent lawmakers might soon face similar scrutiny if their records raise similar red flags. The political establishment remains stunned by Patel's bold moves. Legal scholars are closely watching the case, debating whether it could set a precedent for citizen-led investigations into members of Congress. Some argue it's a dangerous overreach, while others call it a necessary check on unaccountable power. Patel, a former chief investigator for the House Intelligence Committee, has experience navigating complex legal terrain. His reputation as a skilled legal tactician gives weight to the current investigation. Allies describe him as relentless and fact-driven, while critics accuse him of political vendettas and selective targeting. Graham, meanwhile, is reportedly assembling a high-powered legal team to counter the allegations. Rumors suggest he has already reached out to top DC law firms and crisis managers. His inner circle is said to be in panic mode, scrambling to respond to the wave of media and public pressure bearing down on the senator. As more details emerge, Patel has teased the release of key documents that will be made public in the coming weeks. He promises transparency and claims that the information will speak for itself. "Let the people judge the facts," he said during a press statement, further escalating anticipation. According to Patel, this case reflects a broader issue of accountability in Washington. He argues that too many elected officials believe they're untouchable. "The system was never meant to shield the powerful from the law," he said. This sentiment has resonated with a large segment of the American public, particularly those already skeptical of career politicians like Graham. A major twist occurred when one of Patel's sources claimed to have direct knowledge of a classified briefing Graham allegedly leaked. This would be a severe breach of national security protocol. If confirmed, it could result in criminal charges and possible expulsion from the Senate. Legal experts say such a case would be nearly unprecedented in modern political history. Critics of Patel argue that his close ties to Trump and the MAGA movement suggest bias. They accuse him of using this investigation as a tool for political revenge. However, Patel has insisted that this case is based entirely on evidence, not ideology. He welcomed bipartisan support and encouraged Democrats and Republicans alike to look at the facts. Meanwhile, tensions on Capitol Hill have escalated. Several senators have privately expressed concerns that Patel's investigation could open the floodgates for similar inquiries into their own conduct. "If Graham can be targeted, so can anyone," said one anonymous senator. This fear has created an atmosphere of quiet panic among long-standing members. As the scandal deepens, media outlets are struggling to keep up with the daily developments. Major news organizations have begun sending investigative teams to dig into Graham's record, campaign finance history, and foreign connections. The pressure on Graham is mounting, with some calling for him to step aside until the investigation concludes. During a televised panel, former intelligence officials discussed how damaging a confirmed leak by Graham could be. One former CIA officer noted, "Leaking classified information to unauthorized individuals, especially for political gain, is not just unethical, it's dangerous." These discussions have fueled speculation that the FBI may already be quietly monitoring the situation. Patel's legal filings are said to include metadata from phone calls and financial records that tie Graham to questionable international wire transfers. These transactions, according to Patel's team, were routed through intermediaries and offshore accounts, raising questions about intent and legality. Investigators are now analyzing whether any campaign finance laws were broken. A whistleblower within a major lobbying firm has allegedly submitted documents that suggest Graham received undisclosed gifts in exchange for political favors. If true, this would directly violate Senate ethics rules and potentially lead to censure. The Senate Ethics Committee has yet to comment, but pressure is building for a formal inquiry. Many on social media have praised Patel for doing what government agencies often hesitate to do: hold power accountable. Patel's supporters believe he represents a new wave of transparency advocates who are willing to confront corruption, regardless of political affiliation. Hashtags like Drain the Swamp and Hold Them All Accountable are spreading rapidly. While Graham's defenders continue to push back, they've struggled to provide specific refutations of the evidence Patel presents. One aide stated, "These are baseless conspiracy theories," but refused to address key points raised in Patel's documents. The lack of direct counter-evidence is fueling more suspicion rather than calming the storm. Congressional insiders suggest that Graham's relationship with powerful donors may come under further scrutiny. Some of these donors have business interests in regions where U.S. foreign policy plays a major role. If Patel can prove that Graham adjusted his policy stances based on donor pressure, it could spark new campaign finance investigations. In one particularly alarming claim, Patel alleges that Graham may have attempted to influence DOJ decisions through private communications with senior officials. These actions, if verified, could be considered obstruction of justice. Patel claims to have timestamps and encrypted messages supporting this claim and intends to release them at a future press conference. Legal experts point out that even if Graham is not criminally charged, the political damage alone could end his career. Trust among colleagues, constituents, and donors is already showing signs of erosion. Polls in Graham's home state indicate a noticeable dip in his approval ratings since Patel began his inquiry. The Patel investigation is also causing ripples internationally. Foreign governments are reportedly watching closely, as Graham has played a central role in U.S. foreign relations for years. Any proven misconduct on his part could alter diplomatic dynamics, especially in regions where Graham has advocated for military intervention or economic sanctions. Patel's investigation has reignited debates about lobbying in Washington. Critics argue that the current system allows too much influence from special interests. If Graham's actions are proven to be shaped by lobbyists, it may drive momentum for reform. Patel has already called for stricter lobbying disclosure laws and more aggressive enforcement. Patel has also received threats since launching the investigation. He confirmed that his legal team has taken precautions and reported the threats to law enforcement. Despite this, he remains undeterred, stating that the truth must come out, no matter the personal cost. His determination has made him both a hero and a target. Prominent figures in media are beginning to shift their stance. Initially dismissive, some now acknowledge the growing body of evidence presented by Patel. One popular anchor noted, "This is no longer just political theater. The documentation appears credible and serious." This shift has led to broader media coverage and deeper public interest. Graham's public appearances have become increasingly limited. Reporters say he's avoiding the press and sticking to scripted statements. His office refuses to answer questions about specific allegations, citing ongoing legal matters. This silence is drawing more attention than it deflects and is widely viewed as a sign of internal turmoil. Patel's team has hinted at additional surprises. A senior aide revealed that they're vetting more whistleblower testimony and may subpoena individuals who were present during key meetings. The goal, Patel says, is not to destroy reputations, but to ensure transparency and rule of law. These statements are gaining traction with reform-minded Americans. Meanwhile, political groups aligned with Graham are launching counter-campaigns to discredit Patel. They accuse him of spreading misinformation and trying to fracture the GOP from within. However, so far, their efforts have not slowed the growing attention to the case or Patel's credibility with his followers. Political analysts warn that this investigation could permanently alter the GOP's internal balance of power. If Graham falls, other establishment figures may also face scrutiny. The populist faction led by figures like Patel could gain even more influence, fundamentally reshaping the party's direction and leadership. Patel remains focused on the facts. In a podcast interview, he said, "Let the chips fall where they may. If we've got evidence, we act on it. If not, we move on." But silence and inaction are no longer acceptable. This rational tone has helped him gain support even among centrists skeptical of political grandstanding. Several senators are now calling for internal reforms. Some suggest creating a bipartisan investigative board to examine allegations like those raised by Patel. Others worry this could become a political weapon. The debate itself indicates just how disruptive Patel's inquiry has become in Washington. Patel's next move may involve direct testimony before Congress. Insiders claim he's considering a public hearing where he would present his findings and field questions. This would be an unprecedented step for a private citizen investigating a sitting senator, but it could also mark a historic moment of civic accountability. Graham's defenders argue that until formal charges are filed, he remains innocent. Legal analysts agree, reminding viewers that accusations alone are not proof. However, the political stakes remain high. Even a perception of wrongdoing can derail a career, particularly in today's hyper-partisan environment. Social media influencers and political commentators are fueling the fire. Live streams, podcasts, and YouTube videos dissect every new development. Patel's followers are particularly active, creating digital campaigns and grassroots movements around his findings. This online pressure is turning into real-world consequences for Graham. Meanwhile, Patel's fundraising for his legal team and investigation has soared. Supporters are contributing in large numbers, citing a desire to clean house in Washington. Critics worry this may incentivize politically motivated investigations in the future, but for now, the financial support shows no signs of slowing down. Behind the scenes, Graham's team is said to be bracing for more leaks. Patel has hinted at possessing phone records and internal communications from Graham's staff. These documents could further validate claims of unethical coordination and misuse of influence. Patel insists this isn't personal. "I never set out to take down Graham," he said. "But when the evidence points in your direction, you're not exempt." His message, public service demands accountability, even for the powerful. It's a message that's resonating with many who feel betrayed by political elites. With every passing day, the investigation deepens. New tips arrive, more witnesses speak out, and public pressure intensifies. Whether or not Graham is guilty of a crime, the political consequences are already unfolding. His reputation has taken a hit, and his influence is no longer guaranteed. Patel's rise as a figure of accountability reflects a broader shift in American politics. Voters are increasingly demanding honesty and transparency. This case may be the tipping point for a wave of reforms or a new era of political investigations driven by civilians. In a recent development, Patel's legal team filed a motion to access Graham's archived Senate communications. If granted, this could unearth new evidence and possibly link Graham to previously undisclosed networks of influence. The implications of such a discovery would be far-reaching. Public protests have begun forming outside Graham's offices. Some demand resignation, others demand answers. The energy feels different, less partisan, and more about systemic change. That's what Patel seems to have tapped into, a hunger for truth beyond party lines. Meanwhile, political figures from both sides of the aisle are staying quiet. Few want to comment publicly until the dust settles. But privately, many are watching Patel with both admiration and fear. His ability to shake the system is now undeniable. Media outlets continue to release new investigative reports confirming parts of Patel's allegations. Fact-checkers have validated several leaked documents as genuine. As credibility builds, the case against Graham moves from speculation to serious political crisis. Patel promises more revelations soon. He says the investigation is far from over and warns that what's coming next may be even more explosive. For now, America waits and watches, wondering if this will be the scandal that rewrites modern political history. Senate leaders are reportedly preparing contingency plans. If Graham were to resign or be removed, the power balance in the Senate could shift. This has raised new questions about succession and political fallout both in Washington and South Carolina. Patel's investigation has also inspired other activists and legal experts. New groups are forming to investigate campaign finance abuses, ethics violations, and misuse of federal power. This ripple effect could signal a new era of civic engagement. Whether Graham ultimately faces charges or simply public disgrace, the story has already made history. Patel's actions have forced a conversation many in Washington wanted to avoid. Now, that conversation is unavoidable and it's only getting louder. In conclusion, Kash Patel's investigation into Lindsey Graham has changed the political landscape. Regardless of your political stance, this saga is a reminder that truth, when pursued with courage, can challenge even the most powerful. And in this case, it might just change everything.